Okay, welcome everybody to another Lunch and Learn with us here at Action Coaching Birmingham. It's good to have you with us towards the end of another week, and I hope it's been a good week for you so far. It's great to have Tosin Ajayi with us from Tosin Video. Good afternoon, Tosin. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. Very well. We'll introduce ourselves a bit more formally in a moment, Tosin. But it's great to have you with us this lunchtime. We've got many people joining us on Zoom, which is great to have you with us. We are also broadcasting live on Facebook, so it's good to have you if you're listening via the Facebook platform as well. As with all our Lunch and Learn webinars, if this is your first time of joining us, then please do feel free to give us a like, to share, to comment, and to ask any questions on the Facebook platform. Again, if you're listening to us and watching us on Zoom, then do put any questions in the Q&A box as well. If you are a second-time offender and you've come back to us again because you loved what you've heard before, then please give us a bit of love and feedback on the kind of subjects and maybe the key learnings you've had from listening to Lunch and Learn with Action Coach in the past. But absolutely, today is all about making the best of video marketing. It's great to have Tosin from Tosin Video Production with us. Good afternoon, Tosin. Do you want to introduce a bit about yourself and your business to us, first of all?
Yeah, the video of, Tosin Video Production. I've been running it full time since 2013. It came out of a passion I've always had for film because I grew up in Nigeria in the 80s, and film was the first thing I ever understood. I remember watching TV as a kid and just going, oh yeah, I get this. I understand exactly what's going on. I know who that guy is. I know he's not a real person. He's going to die in another show next week. No big deal. So much so that my mom ended up telling me, like, if you spent half as much energy as you did on your schoolwork as you did watching TV, you'd be a straight A student. Which led me to go, I don't spend any energy on that. I just understand it. I get it. But it wasn't until I was 25 where I could actually afford a computer that could handle video editing. I started playing around, started putting things out there. And after a couple of years, someone turns around and goes, oh, I want to do a karate demonstration video. We'll pay you. And I'm like, you can get paid for this? then then YouTube happened. The world changed. And after a couple of years, people realized it wasn't just about watching cats doing cute things, but it was actually a massive, massive marketing tool. And my first degree was in chemical engineering. I went back to university, did a second degree in science media production, which was all about making documentaries and radio shows about science. And that's what I took with me when I actually set up the business, was that whole idea of how do you take an idea, like something like a scientific idea that could be quite big and nebulous, and break it down so that people on the street can understand it in the form of something like a documentary. And that's a little bit of a potted history of Tosin Video Production and where my background coming from when it comes to making videos.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to. I always love a story. Stories sell in my book, but it's great to hear the story behind the face. And I also love the fact that you've chosen a name for your business that helps us and to actually call you by your name as it should be used. And so
Exactly.
I know you've told me that before, so it's great and also very memorable.
Yeah, well, it came about because I was going through like networking meetings, like the one in which we met, and networking meetings, and I had a different name for the business, but it was my first initial and my last name, so Tajayi. And the problem was that if you're in Nigeria and you're saying that, everybody gets what you're saying about. But if you say it here, I was on a couple of radio shows, and they'll be like, "Where can we see some of your work?" And I'll be, "Oh, just go to my website. It's Tajayi. It's a T-A-J." Oh, no one's listening. No, everyone's just left. And so, but I would go to a network meeting and I would say, "Oh, hello, my name is Tosin. If you have trouble remembering that, because I know it's not a normal English name, think toes in." And people would remember that. People would be like, "Oh yeah, toes in, huh? Appendage guy." And so I just, after a while, I see what's going on here. And so I changed the name of the business. But it does help people pronounce my name properly, which I really, really appreciate.
Absolutely. So one thing all of us as individual human beings want to do is be called by the name that we've chosen or been given by our parents. So it's an important thing. Today it's all about making the most of video marketing, Tosin, and I guess for many of us what we want them to do today is perhaps have a BFO. For our listeners to perhaps have a BFO, and for those who are unfamiliar with Action Coach, a BFO is a blinding flash of the obvious. Perhaps as you're learning or dipping your toes in the water, dare I say, Tosin, for the first time in
I do
video.
use that, yeah.
I'm sure you use it, and I thought I'd get one in there first. So if it is a case of dipping your toes in the water for the first time in terms of using video, or perhaps you've been doing it for a while, and you're not quite sure you're doing it the right way, or some tips on how you can do it even better, stick with us for the hour. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of great information, great ideas and tips on how you can benefit from Tosin's years of knowledge and experience, that Bachelor of Science in Media Production, I think it was, you said, Tosin, that will
No,
come to
masters.
life. Was it masters, did you say, or bachelor's?
It was a masters, please. It was a
Oh,
masters.
it was a master's. We've got to give you credit for all that hard work. So I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm not at university right now. That's for sure. Seeing some of the
Oh,
things in the
good
news.
Lord,
We
yeah.
won't talk about that right now. We'll stick to the subject in hand. So it is about I guess making the most of video online. And Tosin, you won't have heard this story, but many of my clients and some of my networking friends will have. I moved into my house in January of this year, and just before lockdown, they put the turf down in the garden. So throughout lockdown, I spent my time looking for a lawnmower, doing my research, and absolutely, because I couldn't go to the big DIY sheds and actually try these things out, video became absolutely essential in looking
Yeah.
at reviews, the product, and bringing those products to me in my living room as a consumer. And I guess I'm not unlike many other consumers. If you're looking to do business these days, you're looking for reviews, testimonials, you're looking for the products and the services online before you go and engage with the organization. So video, I'm sure is becoming more and more important.
Yep.
But I guess the first question from me, Tosin, is in the advent of, I mean, my daughter has talked to me all about I can't remember the name now, TikTok. She's into TikTok.
Yes.
She's 9 years old. She hasn't got her own account yet, dare I say, but she's her and her friends are all into that at school.
Yeah.
YouTube is more sort of my generation, but what platform does video work best? Is there any sort of starting point for any entrepreneur out there, any business owner thinking, well, I want to make use of video, where do I go, what's the best platform to use? So
Yeah, okay.
there's
So
my open question for you.
okay, what platform does video work best on? I think it's well, all of them, quite frankly. I mean, it's one of those questions, and I'm sure you have this. It's one of these annoying answers that it depends. But if you're going to only use one, I would say go YouTube. If you're going to be like, I can't be handled with it, go YouTube, because YouTube is the daddy. YouTube is the one that kind of like really built this online world that we have. But what you found that has happened over time is that you have all these things up on the screen. You have Facebook, you have Vimeo, you have Google, Foursquare, LinkedIn, and you found that little by little over the last 5 years, they've all developed a video offering. And that's because they realize that video keeps people around for the longest. It gets liked more, shared more, commented more than any other piece of thing that goes better than words, better than pictures. It gets commented on more than any one of those things. And they all, so if people can remember back to the early days of Facebook, you used to be able to share a YouTube link in Facebook, and Facebook would actually give you a nice thumbnail, and you could press play, you could watch the YouTube video within Facebook. And then Facebook realized, wait a second, why are we sending people to YouTube? And so they developed their own video offering. So now if you try and share a YouTube link on Facebook, they give you this tiny, piddly, pathetic thumbnail in the corner that says, don't click me, because they want you to put it up on Facebook. So it really depends on, I think.
You're talking to somebody who knows about Friends Reunited and MySpace. So my generation, I go back quite a while, but no, sorry, carry on. Just chuckle me when you remember Facebook. Yes, it's
yes. Yeah, no, I remember those as well. And so I think it's really, the question really comes to, and it's a basic business question of, where are your customers? Where are the customers that you're trying to get to? And it's and depending on where they are, and it is quite, as you've alluded to it already, it is age related as to where your customers would be or what your customers will be. Because I've gone to the age where I remember when Snapchat came out, and I remember saying a typical old man thing of, what the heck is that? Why do you have to use what is this? Why do you need to have your face look like a dog? Why do you need to make your eyes bigger? But if your target audience is a younger generation, is like, I would say well, they'll probably be a bit older, probably going towards 20 now. I mean, Snapchat would have been the thing, but TikTok now, if you're aiming for a younger demographic, then TikTok is where you want to be on, and you want to get on there. But I think YouTube is the one that works across the board, because everybody of every age uses YouTube. It doesn't matter what happens. YouTube is becoming ubiquitous because it's owned by Google. And the same way how some people think I remember a friend of mine telling me that their grand thought that Google was the internet. So it was when they said go to the internet, she thought, oh, Google, that's what it is. And I think YouTube is a bit like that. People think, oh, video online. If people say, oh, there's a video online, they're going to go to YouTube first to search for it. So I would say YouTube is still the big one, but YouTube is still the daddy. Facebook, if your customers are there, I know this is being put out on Facebook Live because I'm guessing you have a following on Facebook, and if that's the case, then you want to put it on there. But the good thing is, wherever your customers are, that platform has realized the power of video and has come up with an offering, has come up with a native video solution so that you can reach your customers on there. So whichever one of these, be it Instagram, IGTV, Flickr, whichever one of these it is, has a native offering. So all you have to do is just get the video and then put the video onto whatever platform you use. So it might be a bit of a rambling question. It does depend, but it's really I think the short answer would be, which platform does video work is the platform that most of your customers are on.
There's a great answer. It's an interesting world, actually, Tosin, isn't it? Where we can age people by the social media platform that they're most familiar with.
It really is. It really is. Or the social media platform that they struggle with, like TikTok, TikTok and Snapchat. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm going to be honest. I could sit down and I could figure it out, but I'm like, I don't get it.
Yes, and if you mention Friends of United, if any of our listeners out there remember that, then that certainly will age you into a certain world. But and Snapchat has just completely passed me by altogether. But I work with a lot of clients who, I've been saying to them over the last 4 or 5 months, Tosin, whatever you do, don't stop investing in your marketing right now. But for many clients and for many business owners, they haven't got big budgets at the moment to start off new marketing campaigns, to outsource or to hire in professionals. And one of the questions I want to ask later is the difference between doing it yourself and coming to somebody like yourself. But for those clients who just want to start doing something themselves, I've got my trusty, you can't see it, my trusty phone in front of me. This one hasn't been through the washing machine, unlike my accessories. But if you've got a phone that works and hasn't been through the washing machine, how can you use that, and what would be the best starting point if you just want to start doing something, start using video, and then what would you use it for?
Okay, so the starting point, because this is something I actually do, I'm going to share a screen now. And please. I'm going to share a screen now, and let's see, that one. And so is that, can you see that now?
There we are. Your screen is coming up, hopefully. There we go, perfect.
So so you should see making videos on your phone. Now, this is something that I do, and I agree with you, because it was the same thought occurred to me, that you should not stop investing in your marketing. That's something that you need to carry on doing. However, I know that as you said, belts are tightened, budgets are cut, and all that, so you might not be able to have me come out. And these are the tips that I would say that if you're going to start off making a video on your phone, the number one thing I would say is script. Write a script and know what it is that you want to say before you put on the camera. Because if you do not write a script, and once you turn on the camera without a script, that's when money starts burning. That's when time starts burning. You waste your time. You waste your viewers' time, and people will just switch off. And it will become counterproductive, because you'll just be a rambling mess. A bit like maybe I am right now. But number one, I'll say script. Get a script. Number two, get a good phone. Now, any phone released in the last 5 years, like a mid to high end, I think the Samsungs are pretty good. Google Pixels are pretty good. iPhones are pretty good. Any phone that's released in the last 5 years will have a camera that can do kick-ass video. And I would say use the camera on the back, because the camera on the back is way better than the camera on the front. The selfie camera is not as high resolution. The camera gets smudged because your thumb goes over it over and over again. Use the back one, clean it, you will get better results. Get a tripod.
A really great tip. Again, one of those simple BFOs, blinding flash of the obvious, but we don't always think about the back camera being so much better. Absolutely.
I would hope it is. And another sort of like simple tip is that if you're going to film yourself, look at the camera. So even now, I mean, obviously nowadays we're all on Zoom calls, and the tendency would be to look at yourself. So for instance, at the moment, I'm looking at myself, and you should be able to tell the difference between me looking at myself and me looking at the camera. So if I'm looking at the camera and I'm talking, it feels a lot more like I'm talking to you, as opposed to if I'm looking at myself and I'm just sort of like off somewhere. So I would say if you're going to do that, use that. Look at the camera if you're going to address anything to the camera. Get a tripod. Keep the shot steady, because this is not the best. It's not the best looking thing. It's not something that comes across as professional. Keep the shot steady so you don't have to think about it, and then just steady yourself in. Make sure it's well lit. So at the moment, when I say well lit, it's just that you can see me. I will try and show you the difference. Like, I know there's a lot of people, one of my number one tips is don't film yourself in front of a window, because there's a lot of people who I think, hang on a sec. Can you still see my shared window?
No, I can see your background. Are you talking about the window being in front or behind of you, Tosin?
The window, okay, so at the moment, the window is in front of me, so you can see my face. Right. So okay, I'm just going to stop the share. Sorry, computer saying no. I knew I shouldn't have tried to do something a bit more complicated than just sit here. All right, so I'm going to stop the share. And so what happens is, so at the moment, the window's in front of me, and a lot of people think, oh, the window looks really, really good. I'm going to film myself in front of the window. But when you do that, this is what happens. So now the window's behind me, and yes. And so this is what happens when you try and film. This is the thing about lighting. You've got to make sure that the light source in the room is on your face. So this is me standing in front of a window, and all of a sudden I disappear because the camera doesn't know what to do. If you turned around and you did that, all of a sudden, it's not a trick, it's not a filter. All I've done is just turned my position to make sure that the lighting is on my face. So if you do that, think about the lighting. If you're going to use your phone to film yourself, think about the lighting. These are simple tips that will help you come across as better and make it something that people are more likely to watch, and also make it something that people are not going to be distracted by, but they're going to spend a lot more time listening to what you're saying, as opposed to, oh my God, I can't even see him. So
look at me, Tosin, probably working out where my window is now. It's like on the one side of my face is lighter than the other. But,
yes,
I'm going to be more self-critical now as I do my videos.
Well, they're just tips to help. The sound. Now, sound is a really, really key thing that a lot of people, essentially the way I put it is that you will, if you think about your own viewing practices, what you've watched on YouTube, what you've watched on Facebook, I would wager that would be happier to watch a badly shot video with good sound than a well-shot video with bad sound. Sound is the secret weapon of video. And if the sound isn't good, and the problem is that a lot of phones don't have good microphones on them. They might have it if you're standing there, but if you're trying to sort of present something from a distance, it might get all sort of like, and it sounds like you're underwater. So figure out a sound solution. They are usually, you can buy microphones attached to your phone through the headphone socket that cost about £5. This is clipped from a much bigger presentation that I usually do. And I can show you examples and all that, but if anybody wants information, you can get in touch with me and I can tell you more. Framing is all about where you are in the shots. So it's, for instance, where I am right now, I think it's a good place. I mean, you can see me, there's not that much space around my head. However, and this happens a lot, especially nowadays with everybody being on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever, if you're like that, and if you do a video that looks like this, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't put you in the best light. People don't connect with it. Like Stephen, you've got it quite well. Your eyes are about 2/3 of the way up the shot. And that's what I would say. I would say, essentially, try and make sure that your eyes are about 2/3 of the way up the shot, because that way it's a bit better. Location, think about where you're filming. Thankfully nowadays, I've got a virtual background, so you don't have to see the mess behind me. And it takes your eyes off that, makes you feel, but if you're going to be filming on your phone and it's not like a Zoom thing, think about the location, because we as humans mega, mega judgy. We are really, really judgy, and it,
Yeah.
yeah, and depending on what's in your background, people will immediately start going, "Oh, what the hell? What's that? Oh, why are they doing that? Oh, I don't like that." And you might be talking about something. You might be giving someone some really, really good advice, and all they care about is that there's a plant over your shoulder that hasn't been watered in 3 days, and therefore they'll start saying things which I personally don't adhere to. But like, well, if he can't look after a plant, then how can he look after my finances? Which I think is a nonsensical thing, but it's how people think. It's how we think. We are very judgy. So think about the location which you film, and
And I guess people also fill in the voids if there's something they're not quite sure if they want. They'll start making assumptions,
exactly,
which I
yeah.
guess is what you're making. Yeah.
And you can't really stop people doing that, but you can try and mitigate it to some extent. You can try and make sure that, look, I've done everything I can to make sure that you're getting the message I want to deliver. But people will still. I mean, I remember doing a video and I showed it to people, and it's part of this presentation that I do, and I show it to people, and people say, "Ooh, there was a fan in the background." I'm like, "What? There's a fan in the background. I didn't like that." I was like, "What?" but people pick it up. But so think about the location well, and then editing.
So
So
just on that, Tosin, I can give you my own personal story. I was doing a video a few weeks ago. Sort of a 3-minute video. I'd filmed it several times, got it on my third take. I thought word perfect. Everything else was perfect about the video.
yeah.
And what happened? 2 minutes, well, 30 seconds towards the end, the grandfather clock started chiming 6 o'clock. So location and sound, I just want to drop in my BFO from that is, just be aware of what sounds are going on around you. If you've got a clock or a grandfather clock or something else about to happen, switch off your doorbell, whatever you're doing. But those things, because I went through that video, got it as I wanted
Yeah.
it, and then just at the end, it's
Yeah.
surrounding the sounds around you are so important as well.
Yeah, on that note, aeroplane mode might be a friend. Aeroplane mode, if you're filming on a phone, put it onto airplane mode for the duration of the filming, so at least the phone itself doesn't interrupt the phone.
The notification.
Yes, yeah. And editing is a time sink. Editing is the point at which, I mean, I might be going into a question you were going to ask me going forward, but editing is the bit where it's probably most worth your time to get someone like me in, because it's not unheard of to spend a day, so I'm talking about 6 to 8 hours, trying to get a 2-minute video done. It's not unheard of that. If you're trying to make it, if you're trying to tighten it and you're trying to make it something that doesn't waste people's time or something that gets your point across quickly, it is a bit of a time sink, and that is a little bit more involved. But these are essentially tips that, if you go through each one of these tips and if you just think about all these different things, it will help you to make something on your phone that will be more affordable, but also really effective.
There's a question, yeah. So I was going to ask you, just how professional does your video have to be? Does it have to have, sort of subtitles, an introduction page, with your image, with your logo coming up, or does something a bit more rough and ready? Would that have just as much impact, Tosin, in your marketing?
Well, it's okay. This is I'm going to share you another page with you. I'm going to share another page with you to help answer that question. So okay. It is that one. So this is why I usually talk about what is it that you can do yourself. Now, this is a list of the top 10 categories of videos that are watched on YouTube. And because usually when I do this, I ask people and I wait, because I know that there's going to be one question, an inevitable question that I always get whenever I show this slide.
Okay. I've just had a question, Tosin, come in.
Yep.
From Claire. And she might be the one question you're about to answer. She said, what kind of video content sells?
What kind of video content sells? All right. It depends on what you do. It depends on what you do and what your because what I'm talking about on here, these are the top 10 categories of videos that you get on YouTube. So number one is product reviews, followed by how-tos or tutorials, then vlogs, then gaming videos, comedy skit videos, haul videos, memes or tags, a favorite/best of lists, which are very, very popular, an educational video on unboxing. with most businesses, the ones that I would say are 1, 2, 3, and 9. So product reviews, how-tos, tutorials, vlogs, and something educational. And so I hope that answers. Was it Claire's question?
Yes. She's asking what content sells. And she's also just said, she's made a comment, not a question this time. Comedy doesn't work for accountants. So I guess it all depends on what industry you're working in. I guess it'd be the same. I can think of industries, legal industry, for example, you probably wouldn't have a comedy sketch on their website or their social media presence, but in other industries, it would absolutely work really well. So I guess knowing your industry, knowing your clients.
Yes, know your industry, know your, because I think comedy could work if for the right kind of clients, even for an accountant. I actually think it could work, but it has to be the kind of, if you're looking at like a multinational and you're trying to be an accountant for a multinational conglomerate company, maybe not, because they'll think, well, no, this person's not serious. We want someone who's serious and has absolutely no personality whatsoever. But maybe not. But as I said, for most businesses, I think 1, 2, 3, and 9 are the ones that would work. So doing product reviews or how-tos or tutorials, those are really, really big. Like, let's take the accountant example, for instance. I've spoken to many accountants and I've said, if you did a video that was top 3 things to think about when filling out a tax return, and you put that up online, put that on with the right tags, I can guarantee you that come January, you're going to get many hits on that video, because there's going to be loads of people who are going to be searching for, how do I fill out a tax return? And if there's a video, they're going to click play. They're going to click play to watch that rather than read a page of stuff of that. So hopefully that answers a bit of Claire's question. So I'll say those are the things. And with 1, 2, 3, and 9, pretty much I can, in about 15 minutes, I can sit down with pretty much any business, hear about your business, and figure out how you can adapt those to work in your industry. And I've had people who have spoken to and said, oh yeah, it doesn't work for us. It can't work for us. And I sit down with them and 15 minutes later, they're like, oh, hang on a second. That's a good idea. That might work, because I think that it can be adapted. But to answer your question about how professional does it have to look, or how polished does it have to look? The reason I put this list up is that this is the top 10 list of videos that get millions of views on YouTube, and almost every single one of them is somebody sat in front of a camera talking. So it's someone sat in front of a camera talking. It is not particularly good editing. It's just most of them, the editing, all you see is the person's talking, and then it jumps to them still talking. So they haven't even tried to hide the cut. So it's not polished at all. But it's someone standing in front of a video talking. And this is what people are watching nowadays. And this is the way people this is the way people have become used to taking in information, taking in content, is I'll have somebody sat in front of a computer talking to me. And what I tell people is, whatever it is that you're in, you are in business because you have information people want. It doesn't matter what you do. The basis of it is that you have information people want. You can do something that they can't, and that's why they come and hire you. And if you can give a little bit of information out for free in the form of a video, like a regular video blog, maybe it's a monthly thing or a weekly thing, if you can give a little bit of information out for free, they'll get to know you as the expert. And eventually they'll realize how difficult when they try to do it themselves, they'll realize how difficult what it is you do is. And they'll just go, who is that person that we saw on the video? It sounded like they were fun. It sounded like they knew what they were talking about. I'm just going to get them in. I think one of my recent success stories was a client of mine who's in construction. He's a builder. And I'd done a whole bunch of videos for him about what he'd been doing to this house. And he got a call from he sent me a text saying, Tosin, Google this guy. So I Googled this person, and it was somebody or other who works quite high up in the BBC. And he said, he's just giving me a call. He's just giving me a call saying he wants me to come build a house for him because he saw the YouTube video. He saw the YouTube video of me talking about something that we've done. And he says, I feel like I know you already. I feel like I like you. I feel like we'll get on. Come build me a house. And that is what happens purely from people sat in front of a computer talking, or sat in front of a camera talking. So to answer your question as to how polished it has to be, not very. Not very. Okay. People are used to, as long as you follow all those other things about the script and the lighting, as long as people can see you, they can hear you, you're in a location that doesn't put them off, they will listen to you as long as you have good content that is what they are after.
Brilliant. I've got a couple of other questions coming in, so it's good. Thank you for the questions that people are putting forward. So we've got Jazz, who's asking, should it be the person or the product that features most in the video? What gets more traction?
The person. I would say it's I would say it's in okay, I'm picking out a statistic from the air, but I would say 90% of the time is the person, especially if you're a small business, because people are going to be buying from you. Even if it's the product, they're going to be buying from you. So even if you have the product in there, I would have you using the product or you demonstrating the product. I think, let's see, there's how-tos or tutorials. Number 2, the second most watched kind of video that you find on YouTube is people telling you how to reset your phone, how to how to, like, look at your contacts. And so they're talking about the product and they're showing you the product, but it's the person. And then these people rack up a massive following and rack up loads of, because people engage with them and we engage with people rather than things. So I would say, if you can try and do something with the product and that'll be fine, but I would say put the person in there. Put the person in there because you need somebody to come back to. The person becomes the brand for small businesses.
Yeah, as we say many times, they need to get to know, like, and trust you before they want to do business with you. So the more you can get yourself into the camera, the better. But I wanted to obviously hear your answer as the expert, Tosin. And another question from Simon.
I just want to say something on that one. I know that I think there's a question hiding behind that question, and that question is, what if I don't like being on camera?
I wonder if that is, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a question. It's because I get that a lot. People saying, I don't like being on camera. Oh my God, I'm horrible. And I understand that, and it's a very real fear of people being on camera. And I think it is something that if you can get over it, the rewards are great if you can do. And if you followed what I wrote in the other things about the script, about the lighting, and if you follow those things, they're really, really good. I think a script is really good in helping you get over get over yourself. It's what I want to say, or get over your reservations. Having a script and having a roadmap, and this is what we're trying to do. It's really good in helping you do that. But it might help to have someone like me who can figure out how to put you at ease and get everything and take a whole bunch of these things off your hands. So all you have to worry about is being yourself in front of the camera. But I understand that that is a problem for some people. But if you can get over it, and if you can get past it, there's rewards.
Yeah, and this from my own experience, actually, Tosin, what I've done in the past is, as you say, have the tripod, so I have the camera in front of me, but then in front of the camera, I then have my laptop with a script.
Yes.
So you haven't got to be standing there holding a piece of paper. Have the laptop people can't see, and then talk, because you talk absolutely to the camera in front of you. Yeah. So another question here. I got more questions coming in, Tosin. You're prompting them by the minute. So Simon is saying, is there an optimum length of a video? So what is the ideal length for a video? Should it be a half an hour epic, or should it be a 2 minute 30 seconds? What would you recommend if people are doing their own videos at home?
This is my favorite answer of the day. It depends, but what I do tend to say is that people's attention spans have shortened a lot. So on average, I would try and make a video, if it's supposed to be something that's grabbing someone's attention, that, let's say you're trying to make a video for someone who is a casual observer, doesn't really care about what it is you serve or what it is you sell, but you're just trying to grab something that brings them in to say, oh, maybe I should find out some more. Then I would think run about a minute, 90 seconds at the max is what you have to play with. But if you're doing something like, let's say, the idea, so that's a video that's out there that's supposed to grab people's attention, and that's why with the entry-level package I do is a 1 minute video. It's a 1 minute video because that's like sitting on your website, people are just browsing, they'll click, the fun more about it is you in 1 minute. However, if people are looking for your services, like, let's say you're a plumber and they are looking to audition plumbers, and they're looking to find out more about plumbers because they need to sort something out in the house, like, we do the gas boiler or something, then you have they have more time, and you can do a video that is longer, that you can go up to around about 3 minutes, because you're going to show them something that says, I am the right person for you, because they're already looking for that. So that video you position in such a way that it's the same way you position a blog on your website. Someone puts a search into Google, your blog comes up, and they go and they read the whole blog and go, you know what, this person is making sense. That's what you do with the video blog. And there's some videos that you find on YouTube that personally I don't understand what, like, I'm looking at it, but it's because I'd have absolutely no interest in makeup or anything like. And these videos will be 20 minutes to half an hour long and still have hundreds of thousands of views. And that's purely because the target audience for them are people who really care about what this person is saying. And therefore, they will be willing to sit down there for the length of a TV episode, for an actual episode on TV with adverts, and listen to this person talk, even though I think, oh my, it's too long. It's too long, cut it short. So it depends on, are you trying to get people's attention, or with the video, would people already have gotten there? And I think also the key thing is, what are you trying to say? There's some things you're trying to say that cannot be said in a minute. So make sure that you do not cut your message off at the knees because you're trying to be quick. Make sure that at the same time, don't make sure that you're not too flabby around your message. So let your message decide what it is you're trying to say. If people are going to be looking for a certain topic and for good information on a certain topic, that topic will sometimes determine the length of it, and it will determine how long people will want to hang around for.
Brilliant, brilliant. I've got a question from Adam, who's also listening in. Good to have you with us, Adam. Talking about the structure or talking points that you'd recommend, Tosin, for the perfect introductory video on somebody's website or homepage. So what sort of structure or talking points would you recommend if it's the first time introductory video you're going to somebody's website?
Right, let's have a look at, yep, there it is. So this is talking about the script. And this is me giving you all my trade secrets, but no, this is actually this is freely available on my website.
We'll have to do a pay-per-view login afterwards, Tosin.
This is freely available on my website. I'm not that precious about it because I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's when I talk about giving things away for free, so people realize that you're you know some stuff. This is my version of doing that, giving stuff away so that people actually know. So this is the basic intro that I use whenever I work with someone to do a 1-minute intro video. And that's a basic template that if you followed it, so essentially all the bits in red are the bits that people can customize and make into their own personal bits and their own thing about their own business. And this, for me, is a potted 1 minute, because the thing about 1-minute videos I find is that you might have told somebody over and over and over again ad nauseum what it is that you do, and they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. But you show them a video in which you're saying a little bit about what it is that you do, and then backing that up, you have a shot of you actually doing that thing, and they're like, oh, now I get it. Why didn't you just say that? You haven't said anything different, but you've just shown them what it is that you've done. You've shown them, you haven't told them. And it comes in. And so that's why I think this basic structure, if you're going to make a 1-minute video, I would say you could do a lot worse than just follow this.
Brilliant. Hopefully, Adam, that's answered your question. Yes, he's just said really helpful. Thank you. So thank you, Tosin, for that feedback. A couple more questions, Tosin. Emily is asking top tips for video testimonials. So if you're out with a client and you perhaps haven't got time to script or had chance to script, you sort of thought, can I just get a testimonial before we go? Any top tips in doing that sort of on the spot type of videoing, Tosin?
Okay, on the sport videoing, if you just wanted to put it up as a quick sort of thing that goes up onto Instagram, onto Facebook, or anything like that, then I guess, yeah, that could work. The things I would say is film it. Don't film it vertically. So don't do that.
Right,
don't do that. I would film it horizontally, just because that gives you more options as to where you can put it. If you film it, yeah, so there will be some places like Instagram, for instance, that want you to do it square. IGTV wants you to do it horizontally. YouTube prefers it. What is it? No, wants you to do it vertically. So IGTV wants you to do it vertically. YouTube presents it horizontally, as does Facebook and all. So, but if you do it that way, then it gives you more options later on. And so, but if you know I'm going to film this and the only place this thing is ever going to go is IGTV, then go ahead, knock yourself out, film it vertically. But I would say film it that way. Follow the ideas of the lighting and all that. Lighting, think.
Oh, looks like we've lost Tosin there. We'll just wait for him to rejoin us. He's just mid flow there, and it's the first time that's happened on one of our lunch and learns. Hopefully, he'll be back with us in a moment. Thank you all for your great questions that are coming in. I'm sure Tosin will be back in a minute. But just while we're waiting for Tosin, any other comments or thoughts that you'd like to ask him, please do put them in the Q&A box. I'm just waiting for Tosin to rejoin us. So apologies for those of you who are listening to us, and we'll get back to him very shortly. Just while we're waiting for Tosin to come back to us, just if you are a regular listener to us on the Lunch and Learns, next week we have James Bowl on Tuesday talking all about your why, so your purpose in your business and what your why is in the business. And then later in the week we have IT Made Simple with Lee Robinson from Meta Eagle IT. So the two great speakers on our guests on our Lunch and Learn next week joining us. So I do hope that you'll be able to come back and join us next week. I'm just waiting to see if Tosin is able to rejoin us. Not sure if it's a power cut or an IT challenge. I do hope that he will be able to come back and just finish off what he was in mid-flow telling us. But we've had some great questions this afternoon. Some really good points, and from Tosin, some really useful hints and tips in making your own video and sort of, starting to make the best of video opportunities with your marketing. One of the questions I had for Tosin, hopefully he'll be back in a moment, was the difference between trying to do it ourselves versus going to a professional and outsourcing that as well. So hopefully Tosin will be with us in a moment. Just bear with me. Any more questions, please do put them in the Q&A box. And if you still have questions that perhaps you haven't had a chance to ask, if Tosin doesn't come back in the next few minutes, what we'll do, we have got Tosin booked in later on in the month, so we'll certainly be having him back, and we'll make sure that you're aware of his return in a couple of weeks' time. It looks like he's not been able to rejoin us yet. It could, of course, be a power cut. It could be technical issues. So my sincere apologies for the problem that's causing this lunchtime. Just while we're waiting, Emily, is there any other comments on Facebook or LinkedIn that I might have missed?
No, I've been forwarding them to you and Tosin, so I believe, he's joined us again.
He's back in the room. There we are, Tosin. I was just doing my best to fit in the gaps there and telling people about our future speakers. And
yeah, I am so sorry about that. You know how we were talking about it earlier. We're talking about how you got to plug in your laptop. If you're doing something, you got to plug in your laptop
and switch it off.
Well, no, it was switched on. It was switched on. But what happened was when I showed you guys about how you should just stand in front of a window.
Yes.
Yes, because I had to unplug the laptop so I could move it around. I forgot to plug it back in. So,
but
sorry
I guess Tosin is a learning point for us all, both in using Zoom and etc. But also, if we're going to make our own videos, making sure when we start, we've got a fully charged phone.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than getting halfway through your filming and find the phone is not quite it runs out of tune. So,
yeah, the phone is not working for you.
So, you were
yes,
low. So
I was mid-flow. I was talking about if you're filming testimonials.
Yes,
I was talking about if you're filming testimonials. So I think it's following all the different tips that we spoke about, where we spoke about the lighting, about the sound, and also, even though it sounds like, we're just getting testimonials, it's still having a script. So in your head, think about the final thing. What do you want the person who's giving you a testimonial to say? So, and if what you want them to say will determine what questions you ask them. And so when you think about what it is you want them to say, then you ask them questions to get that. But then I would also say, ask them the questions in such a way that make sure they put the question and the answer. So if you ask them, why do you use Action Coach Birmingham? And instead of them just sort of going, because it's great, them actually going, we use Action Coach Birmingham because they give a brilliant service. Because then you can cut the question out and you can just have them as a soundbite giving the testimonial about how much they love working with you.
Absolutely great point. Great point. I've got another question. We've got a couple more, Tosin, and conscious of time, but question from Adam again. Good question, Adam. So he's talking a bit about the kit. You mentioned about the phones themselves, Tosin, and the cameras. But in terms of sound, just going back to sound, would you recommend an external plug-in mic or sort of a lapel mic? And if so, if you would recommend mics, what I don't know if you can recommend a particular brand or particular type, certainly when doing sort of homemade productions.
I would definitely recommend an external mic. Like if you go on to, I'm just trying to bring up my presentation again because there's a section on sound, and there's a video that I've done which hopefully shows you the difference between having good sound and bad sound. And if you go onto Amazon and you just type in lavalier microphone or lavalier mic, which is all about that's the clip-on mic that you can get, like lavalier phone, lavalier microphone, lapel mic. There's loads of them up there. They're really, really inexpensive. The one that I use is somewhere on my desk now because I sometimes use it on Zoom calls because it works with computers, it works with phones. And it's just this. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. That cost me about 15 quid off Amazon. And it's not a brand I had ever heard of before. It's called Movo. But I would say go on there, and at the price at which they are online, it's enough for you to take a punt. I think it's enough for you to take a punt and see if it works, but have something that can connect through the headphone jack of your phone and use that, because that will give you much better sound than your phone mic would. And also it means that you don't have to be right up to your phone to film it to get good sound. You can be back a bit, and the microphone would essentially would just clip on here. I'm actually going to try and switch to using this mic now.
There, asked Tosin, is it washing machine proof?
I'm pretty sure that this one is.
I was talking to Tosin just before we started, and the last 48 hours I put my headphones through the washing machine. So, but I'm absolutely amazed that they still work. So, I guess you never quite know. But go on, Tosin, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this one is a washing machine proof. So I'm not sure how much, because obviously I can't hear myself at the moment, but my sound might have changed a bit. Like
it has. It's much louder, much crisper, actually. Yeah,
it's much crisper, and that's because I've switched from using the onboard microphone on the laptop to using that, and I've just taken that. I have attached it to my shirt, and so if I scratch this, you should be able to hear quite a loud scratchy noise.
Yeah. Yes.
And I've attached it to my shirt, and I've taken the other end. The sound's gonna change again. Me using the onboard microphone on the laptop, and I've taken the other end, the jack, and I've just plugged that into the headphone socket on my laptop. And once again, you see that the sound changes. And so I think it's always worth it getting yourself a lapel mic that can attach to your phone, because it will give you better sound, even if it's a cheap £5 job. It will probably still give you better sound than the microphone on your phone.
Brilliant. That's a great tip. Thank you. And I hope, Adam, you found that useful. For all the tips that you've given us so far, you said they're on your website, Tosin. Your website is tosin.com. So all the W's .tosin, TOESIN.com. It's behind you on the screen anyway. So just for those listeners who are listening to us today, absolutely, if you want to go and download things like the script or the structure that you referred to earlier on, Tosin, it's on your website, so Adam and others can go and access.
Yeah, because there's a page on my website called COVID You Film I Edit, because the whole idea when the lockdown hit was, I was like, if you still want to make content, you can follow the tips I've given. And I took those videos and I turned them into my own video series, which is 6 videos that talk you through the different things that you can do to film yourself. And then once you film it and you get to the editing stage, that's where I come in. Send it to me and I'll edit it. Obviously not for free, but on my website, you can see those videos are all there, available for free. Talk you through the script, what to do if you're going to script, talk you through the lighting, talk you through how to use the phone, set up a tripod, talk you through all those different things on there. And it's on my website it's the second tab along, called COVID You Film I Edit.
Brilliant. And that, I mean, the last question I had, just to wrap up, Tosin, you've partially answered it there, was, what is the difference between doing something yourself on your phone and hiring a professional such as you? And you've also just outlined there almost like a halfway house for
Yes.
those people who want to do their own own videoing, but don't want to do the editor or haven't got the skills. So is there anything else you just want to add to that in terms of, the services that you offer, Tosin, and if somebody, the difference between somebody doing it themselves and if they were to come to you to have the full package?
The main difference, I've got to be honest with you, is time. Because I am not too precious about what it is I do. I don't think what I do is particularly difficult. I think it's just that I've taken the time to figure out how to do it quickly. And if you are going to do it yourself, I have some people who are doing the you film my edits, and it's taken maybe 3 weeks to get the video footage to me because they keep filming it and they're going, no, that was wrong, no, that was wrong, no, that was wrong, no, that was wrong, before they find something that they're happy with. And in those 3 weeks, you could have been doing the job that you are good at, and you could have been earning money and just paid me a little bit to sort it out for you in an hour. So I think the main difference is time. And I like to think, excuse me, I like to tell myself rather that it will look better if I do it than if you do it. It might not. You might be a savant. I don't know. You might be been made for this. It will look better quicker if I do it than if you did it. So I think the main thing is time.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. And one of the key points we talk about here at Action Coach when we're coaching our clients is, think about your skill level and your enjoyment of a task. And if you're not enjoying it, or you don't have the time to do it, or don't have the skill level, then absolutely outsource it and make best value of your time. Put a value on your own time. And if you can get somebody else to do it quicker and cheaper, then why would you spend your own time doing it yourself? So it's a really good answer, and something we talk about a lot here at Action Coach. I guess we've got 5 minutes left, Tosin. A quote I found online earlier on when I was looking for this, almost 50% of internet users are looking for a video related to a product or service before they buy. I think it's a really compelling point to finish on, in terms of call to action from today's Lunch and Learn webinar. Go away, explore, see how you can make best use or better use of video in your marketing, whether that be via social media, or like Adam, you just want to do a brief intro to yourself or maybe your staff on your website, but try and use video to make your products and services and yourself more engaging online. What do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I would call. I mean, I do have a raft of numbers. Things like 82% of all internet traffic it's 85% of all internet traffic will be video by the end of this year, because
wow.
Yes,
wow.
Yeah, 85%. So that it's essentially most of what we do online is video. And just to back up this point of almost 50% of internet users are looking for a video related to a product or service before they buy. And I remember being in a networking meeting, and I asked people, when it was time for me to talk about myself, I was like, may I ask a question? Who in the past week has watched a video that's helped them decide where they spend their money? And most people put their hands up in the air and were like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I wanted to go on holiday. I watched something about the holiday. I watched something about the hotel before I went. And then I turned on to everyone and I said, well, people are doing that to your business. You're doing it to everybody else's, but the penny hadn't dropped for a lot of people that people are doing the same thing for your business. And I think it's just think about, if you have that behavior when you're going out there and you're going to find something, and if you're trying to sell but somebody something, they have the same behavior when it's coming to you. No matter even if you think it's something that's boring, something that is not visual, like I'm going to use the accounting example because it's the one that comes up over and over again, and someone raised it first of all, people are still more likely to buy if they have a video that explains what you're about.
Thank you so much. And just to, completely agree with that. And we've been saying again to our clients that, during lockdown and one of the changes as a result of COVID-19 is people have had more time to do their due diligence, to do their research, and particularly online. People are turning to online marketing and online content to help make their decisions. So video is a key part of that. But I'm absolutely blown away by that stat. So it's 85% of video, online content would be video. And we've only got 3 months to the end of the year. So, we're not talking very far away. So, your call to action today, absolutely go away, explore how you can make best use of video. Tosin's contact details are on the screen, as are ours. If you'd like to get in touch with Tosin, go to his website, have a look at some of the content, some of the tutorials, some of the free downloadable materials that are there. And absolutely, I'd recommend, contact Tosin, put in, half an hour conversation in your diary with Tosin, and just talk about how you might be able to get that additional support and guidance in bringing your products and services to life via video. Talking of video, Tosin, I just want to take this one opportunity to indulge Action Coach for a moment. In terms of video, we've been going 30 years and we've put 30 of our best videos, not our best videos, but Brad Sugar, our founder, 30 of his best videos in together to create 30X. That's 30 years of videos, business experience, 30 minutes a day. So 30 short videos. I say short, not by your standards, Tosin, but 30-minute videos, one a day, on how you can work on your business so you're not always working in the business. And we're charging just a start off fee of £30 to get involved and to find out more. So if you want to grow your business 30 times, find out how Brad has used his 30 years experience to put them into 30 videos, please do get in touch. Our contact details are on the screen as well. We'd love to have a talk to you about the 30X challenge. But for now, it just remains me to say a huge thanks. It's 1 minute to 1, and I always like to keep these webinars within the hour, as I said, Tosin, at the beginning. So it's good to have you, Tosin, with us. Thank you so much for joining us and for your
Thank you for having me.
Guidance. You're back with us, I believe, in November. So it'd be good
in November, yeah.
That'd be great. Next week, we've got James Bowl talking all about why on Monday. What is the why? What is your purpose in your business? And later in the week, we've got Lee Robinson from Meta Eagle talking about IT made simple. So IT in a real business and how we can make the most of that opportunity as well. But for now, thank you everyone so much. Thank you to all our listeners, all those who've asked questions, Simon, Jazz, Emily, Adam, everyone who's been asking questions this lunchtime. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. But for now, stay safe, stay well, and we'll be with you again very soon. Thank you, Tosin, and we will see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.